The NFL, a league where talent and hard work are essential for success. But what happens when a player brings both of these qualities to a level never seen before? When an athlete doesn't just break records, but redefines an entire position. That player was Michael Vick. From humble beginnings in an area marked by violence, Vick rose to stardom, lighting up football fields, not just for his skills with the ball, but for the way he did it, an explosive blend of speed, precision, and a coolness that left both opponents and fans holding their breath with every move. Today, you'll discover the story of a quarterback who transformed the game, an athlete who not only shattered barriers on the field, but also faced one of the biggest scandals in the league's history. Get ready, because this is a story of rise, fall, and redemption that reveals the lasting impact of one of the NFL's most iconic players. This is Michael Vick. Before he was a household name in the NFL, Michael Vick was just a kid growing up in Newport News, Virginia, a place with its share of hardships. Raised in a public housing project, Vick's world was one where opportunities were limited and dangers were constant. For Michael, sports weren't just a pastime, they were an escape, a way to stay out of trouble in a neighborhood where violence and crime were always nearby. From a young age, Vick's father saw his potential and decided to introduce him to football. At just 3 years old, Michael held a football for the first time, with his father by his side, showing him the basics. In a twist of fate, Vick threw that first pass with his left hand, despite doing everything else with his right. It was as if he was destined to play the game in his own unique way. As he got older, Michael soaked up the game, learning from every chance he got. His cousin, Aaron Brooks, would go on to become an NFL quarterback as well, and he became a mentor for young Vick. Under Brooks' guidance, Vick refined his skills, training relentlessly on local fields, mastering the art of passing and running. By high school, Vick was already a phenomenon. At Warwick High School, he became a star, passing for nearly 5,000 yards and 43 touchdowns over 3 years, while rushing for over 1,000 yards. Fans would come just to watch him play, knowing that every time he stepped onto the field, something spectacular could happen. In one unforgettable game during his senior year, he scored 6 rushing touchdowns and threw for 3 more, a feat that cemented his status as a local legend. With offers pouring in from colleges across the country, Vick faced a choice, ultimately selecting Virginia Tech to stay close to his family. It was a decision that set the stage for his rise to national fame and the beginning of his incredible journey to the NFL. Michael Vick's decision to attend Virginia Tech was life-changing. After redshirting his first season, Vick took the field with a point to prove, and in that moment, college football witnessed a phenomenon. He was not just playing quarterback, he was reinventing it. In his very first collegiate game, Vick made a statement, scoring 3 rushing touchdowns in just over 1 quarter. The crowd erupted, but as he flipped into the end zone for that final score, he landed awkwardly and injured his ankle. It was a hard blow, forcing him to sit out the rest of that game and miss the next. But Michael's resilience would soon prove unstoppable. As Vick returned, he led the Hokies through an unforgettable season, powering them to an 11-0 record and a coveted spot in the Bowl Championship Series national championship game. Vick didn't just play. He dominated with an energy and precision that left everyone in awe. His 1999 season was one for the history books. Over 2,000 passing yards, nearly 700 rushing yards, and 22 touchdowns combined. His freshman season passing efficiency shattered records, setting a freshman National Collegiate Athletic Association benchmark at 180.4, making him one of the most talked about players in college football. And it wasn't just the stats. There was an aura about Vick, a sense that every time he touched the ball, he was about to do something unforgettable. That year, Vick's impact was so powerful that he was awarded an ESPY as the top college player, the first ever Archie Griffin Award as college football's most valuable player, and he finished 3rd in the Heisman Trophy voting, tying for the highest finish by a freshman in National Collegiate Athletic Association history. It was clear Michael Vick was not just another player, he was a sensation, and the National Football League was already watching. In his redshirt sophomore season, Vick faced more pressure. Expectations were astronomical, and after his stunning first season, the world expected nothing short of magic every time he stepped onto the field. A sprained ankle forced him to miss almost 3 full games, but even then, Vick's season was remarkable. He threw for over 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns, while rushing for another 617 yards and 8 more touchdowns on the ground. Some called it a down year by Vick's standards, but his play still earned him 6th place in the Heisman voting. By the end of that season, Vick had proven beyond doubt that he was one of the most dynamic quarterbacks college football had ever seen. When it came time to decide on his future, Vick faced a tough choice. He could stay at Virginia Tech and continue to build his legacy, or he could take a leap to the professional league. The decision was clear. He declared for the National Football League draft, ready to face even tougher competition. At the National Football League Combine, his performance was electrifying. Vick ran the 40-yard dash in an astounding 4.33 seconds, a record-breaking time for quarterbacks, faster than nearly every other player at that combine. Scouts and analysts were left speechless. Vick wasn't just fast, he was phenomenally quick, with a level of athleticism that set him apart from anyone else in his draft class. Seeing his potential, the Atlanta Falcons made a bold move, trading up to secure him as the first overall pick in the 2001 National Football League draft. For the Falcons, a team often overlooked and mired in mediocrity, Vick was not just a top pick, he was a symbol of hope, a player they believed could transform the franchise. And Vick didn't disappoint. In his second National Football League season, he was unleashed. He passed for nearly 3,000 yards, rushed for 777, and racked up 24 touchdowns. Fans couldn't get enough. Every game, every play, it felt like something extraordinary could happen, and often, it did. Vick quickly became one of the most exciting players to watch in the National Football League. His agility and speed on the field were unmatched. In one legendary game against the Minnesota Vikings, he set a National Football League record for the most rushing yards by a quarterback in a single game. With an incredible 173 yards, defenders found themselves baffled, struggling to keep up as he weaved through them, juking left, then right, his strides extending as if he were gliding. Vick wasn't just fast, he was unpredictable, and that made him a nightmare for defenses. Under his leadership, the Falcons made it to their first postseason since 1998, and Vick was named to the Pro Bowl. The energy he brought to the Falcons and the National Football League was undeniable. He was more than just a quarterback, he was a trailblazer, redefining what a player at his position could achieve. By 2004, Vick led the Falcons to their first division title since 1998 and took them to the National Football Conference championship game. It was a season that further cemented his role as a transformative figure in the league. Michael Vick had reached a place few ever do. He was the face of the Atlanta Falcons, adored by fans, and hailed as a generational talent. His blend of speed, agility, and throwing power redefined what a quarterback could be. Yet, the higher he climbed, the more the pressure mounted. Vick was Atlanta's pride and hope, with the city and franchise counting on him to continue leading them to greatness. Every game felt like a new spectacle, and expectations reached a fever pitch. As each Sunday unfolded, fans anticipated the extraordinary, convinced Vick could single-handedly reshape the Falcons' destiny. It was an intense burden, but one he carried with pride until his world began to unravel. The first major setback arrived during a preseason game in 2003. In a seemingly routine play, Vick was tackled, and he felt an intense, sharp pain in his leg. Medical tests later confirmed it: a fractured fibula, an injury that would sideline him for 11 games. For an athlete as competitive as Vick, watching his team struggle without him was agonizing. Every day in rehabilitation was a reminder that he was not invincible, a humbling experience for a player used to defying limits. It was a test of his patience and resilience, forcing him to slow down in a way he never had. Vick pushed through, determined to return stronger, but that injury left a scar beyond the physical. Upon returning, Vick faced a world that watched his every move with both hope and scrutiny. Fans saw glimpses of the old Vick, but he now carried a weight, a pressure to prove he was still the player they believed him to be. His play was fearless, but the pain lingered, reminding him of his vulnerability. In moments of doubt, he pushed harder, training obsessively, working to stay ahead. He was determined to shake off the setbacks and take Atlanta to new heights. But as he played each game, another storm was brewing, one that would change everything. While Vick fought to reclaim his athletic dominance, he remained unaware of the personal choices that would soon lead to his darkest days. In 2007, the news broke, and the shockwaves were immediate. Reports surfaced that Vick was under investigation for funding and managing a dogfighting ring, a revelation that stunned the sports world. Dogfighting is a brutal underground industry where dogs are forced into deadly fights, often for gambling purposes, and Vick's alleged involvement horrified fans. Overnight, he went from celebrated athlete to accused criminal, facing severe backlash from every direction. The media frenzy was relentless, with each report painting an increasingly grim picture of Vick's involvement. Fans felt betrayed, and the public outcry was fierce. The man they once idolized was now under a shadow of disgrace. As the investigation deepened, details emerged that further darkened his image. It was alleged that Vick not only financed the dogfighting ring, but participated in and condoned the violence. The NFL suspended him indefinitely, and sponsors quickly distanced themselves. He had gone from a brand icon to a liability, and every endorsement he had built disappeared overnight. For a man who had spent years crafting an image of success and skill, watching it crumble was devastating. His teammates struggled with the revelations, and even friends found it difficult to reconcile the Vick they knew with the accusations. The pressure was immense, and Vick began to realize that his entire world was at risk. Facing the legal system, Vick made a pivotal choice that would mark the start of his downfall. He pled guilty to federal dogfighting charges. In August of 2007, the court sentenced him to 23 months in prison. It was a historic moment, the fall of an NFL star who had once seemed untouchable. As he was led away in handcuffs, the cameras captured every step, every expression, immortalizing the moment for fans and critics alike. His family watched, devastated, as Vick disappeared from the life he had known. The magnitude of his choices weighed heavily on him, and as he entered prison, he faced a future more uncertain than ever before. Life in prison was a stark contrast to Vick's former world of fame and adoration. Inside those walls, he was no longer an NFL star, but another inmate, cut off from the luxuries and comforts he'd once enjoyed. Every day was a reminder of what he had lost. The silence, the routine, and the isolation forced him into deep reflection. For the first time, he was confronted with the consequences of his actions. Unable to escape into the noise of fame, he began to question himself, to see the impact of his choices not only on his life, but on those he loved and the animals he had harmed. It was a period of profound introspection, reshaping his understanding of himself. In moments of solitude, Vick sought redemption in small ways, hoping that self-reflection could lay a foundation for change. He read extensively, studied, and began working on rebuilding a sense of integrity, even if it was only for himself. Family members would later say that prison changed Vick, stripping him of the ego that had once clouded his judgment. Letters from fans, both supportive and condemning, arrived regularly, reminding him of the complex legacy he had left behind. The NFL world moved on without him, and for Vick, each day became a test of character and endurance. He knew that if he ever returned, it would have to be as a different man. After serving his sentence, Vick re-entered a society divided about his potential for redemption. Public opinion was mixed, with some ready to forgive and others unable to forget. He had lost everything: his career, endorsements, reputation, and now faced the monumental task of rebuilding. Many doubted he could return to the NFL, while others felt he deserved no second chance. The Atlanta Falcons officially released him, severing ties and moving on. For Vick, the reality was harsh. He was a free man, but a man without a team, a city, or a purpose. But within him, a spark remained, a hope for a second chance, even if the odds were against him. Then, unexpectedly, the Philadelphia Eagles extended an offer. Coach Andy Reid believed in second chances and saw in Vick a man who had faced his worst mistakes. The contract was modest, a backup position without guarantees, but it was a small one for Vick to prove himself anew. The decision shocked fans and sparked debates. Many questioned Reed's choice, wary of the risks. But for Vick, it was a lifeline, an opportunity to show he had learned, changed, and could contribute positively. Underneath the scrutiny, Vick began a quiet, determined journey to rebuild, not just as an athlete, but as a man transformed. As the 2009 season began, Vick was a backup, a role he had never known, but one he embraced humbly. He watched, learned, and prepared, knowing he might only have one chance to show his growth. Behind Donovan McNabb, he quietly absorbed the playbook, trained diligently, and stayed out of the spotlight. His focus was singular: to be ready if the moment called. Fate intervened, and when Kevin Kolb was injured, Vick was named the starting quarterback. It was a familiar role, but one that came with a different weight. This time, he played not only to win, but to prove his redemption. In 2010, Vick played some of the best football of his life, reminding fans of the talent that had once captivated the league. He threw for over 3,000 yards, rushed for 676, and scored 30 touchdowns in only 12 games. The Eagles made it to the playoffs, and Vick's comeback earned him the NFL Comeback Player of the Year award. It was a remarkable turnaround, a testament to his determination. For fans who had once cheered his downfall, Vick's return was proof of resilience. But he knew his past would never fully leave him. He played each game with a newfound humility. As the season progressed, Vick's story became a symbol of redemption, but also of controversy. Many celebrated his return, admiring his determination to rebuild. But others remained skeptical, unwilling to forgive, holding on to the memory of his crimes. It was a complex legacy, one that would always divide fans and critics alike. Vick continued to play with intensity, pushing forward even as he faced reminders of his past. He knew that each touchdown was a step forward, but also that each game brought his past back to light. It was a balancing act, a life lived under scrutiny, yet one he was determined to handle with grace. After a successful 2011 season, Vick's career began to wind down, and his role shifted from star player to mentor. He embraced this role, guiding younger players, sharing the lessons he had learned from both his success and mistakes. The NFL world had changed, and Vick adapted, knowing that his legacy would be complex. He took every opportunity to contribute positively, giving back to communities and speaking out against the very practices that had led to his downfall. Vick's actions became a statement, a way to show that he had truly changed, hoping that time would bring understanding and perhaps forgiveness. Even after his time with the Eagles ended, Vick's influence remained. Younger players looked up to him, inspired by both his talent and his story. His journey served as a reminder that talent alone does not define a career, that choices and character matter as much, if not more. Vick would eventually retire, leaving behind records, highlights, and memories. His story became a cautionary tale and a symbol of redemption, a mix of triumph and tragedy. Fans remembered the moments of brilliance, the explosive plays, but also the mistakes. Vick's legacy was unique, forever intertwined with both victory and loss. In his final interviews, Vick reflected on his journey, acknowledging the pain he had caused and the lessons he had learned. He spoke candidly about his mistakes, the price he paid, and his efforts to change. His words were those of a man who understood the gravity of his actions and the impact of his choices. For those willing to listen, he offered a story of accountability, resilience, and growth. Vick's life became a testament to the possibility of change, but also a reminder of the consequences that come with poor decisions. As he looked back, he knew that his story would continue to inspire, challenge, and provoke. Today, Michael Vick's legacy is a complex tapestry of highs and lows, victories, and failures. He is remembered as one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in NFL history, a player who revolutionized the game, but he is also remembered for the mistakes that almost cost him everything. His journey is a reminder that talent can elevate, but character defines. Vick's story resonates deeply, leaving fans with a lingering question: can a man truly be redeemed? In the end, Vick's life offers no simple answers, only a powerful narrative of fall, redemption, and the ongoing quest for forgiveness. After serving his sentence, Michael Vick faced an uncertain future. Most teams were hesitant to associate with him due to the scandal that had tarnished his reputation. But unexpectedly, the Philadelphia Eagles offered Vick a chance under head coach Andy Reid's leadership. Reid believed in second chances and saw in Vick a man who was remorseful and determined to rebuild his life and career. It was a contract without guarantees of a starring role, a backup position under strict conditions. The Eagles' decision drew mixed reactions from the media and fans alike. For Vick, however, this was an opportunity he couldn't afford to waste. The public's reaction was intense and polarized. Fans and critics voiced outrage, while others argued that Vick deserved a second chance. Protests emerged in some areas, while other fans showed support, hoping to see what Vick could bring in his quest for redemption. Vick knew that this decision would impact not only his career, but also the Eagles' reputation. This created constant pressure for him to prove he was truly changed, aware that he would have to earn back everyone's respect. The opportunity, however slim, represented a glimmer of hope at the end of a long, dark road. Vick fully committed himself to the team, determined to prove that he was genuinely remorseful and willing to start from scratch. He kept a low profile and focused intently on training, knowing that even the smallest misstep could jeopardize his future. His attitude was different, calmer, less impulsive, focused on demonstrating discipline and humility. This new demeanor impressed his teammates and coaching staff, who saw a changed man. With each practice, Vick slowly built trust among the Eagles, showing that he was dedicated to making the most of this chance. The contract with the Eagles symbolized more than just a chance to play. It was proof that he could still belong in the NFL if he chose the right path. Vick understood that this was his last opportunity, a final chance to rewrite his story with a team that believed in him when few others would. This second chance motivated him to train with relentless intensity, even without any guarantee of a starting position. Vick had a mission: to prove that the Michael Vick returning to football was a transformed man. He knew that, in the eyes of society, every step from this point onward would count toward his final judgment. Joining the Philadelphia Eagles as a backup was a new and humbling experience for Michael Vick. For someone who had once been a star quarterback, the role required him to swallow his pride and approach the game with a fresh perspective. He was now behind Donovan McNabb, a well-established leader in Philadelphia, and he understood that he had much to learn. Vick knew that this was an opportunity to observe and absorb the habits of a respected veteran, something that could ultimately help him grow as a player. In these early days, humility became Vick's driving force. Vick dedicated himself to studying the playbook and observing McNabb's leadership both on and off the field. He was meticulous in his preparation, spending extra hours reviewing film and learning the intricate details of the Eagles' offense. Every practice was a chance to prove his commitment, respect for the game, and he wanted to earn the trust of his coaches and teammates. As the months went by, the quiet, determined version of Vick began to emerge. His hard work and respect for his role did not go unnoticed, and soon, he was building rapport with the team in a way he hadn't before. Accepting a supporting role allowed Vick to develop a new side of himself as a player and as a person. No longer the center of attention, he was able to reflect on the importance of patience and teamwork. Rather than focusing on personal glory, Vick embraced the opportunity to help his team in any way he could. This attitude shift marked a profound change in his character, and it was evident to those around him. His teammates noticed a more grounded and introspective Michael Vick, one who was willing to take a step back to achieve long-term success. His transformation was starting to show. Over time, Vick's humility and adaptability earned him respect within the organization. Coaches and players alike appreciated his dedication and noticed the changes he had made. He had gone from an elite athlete to a man who was determined to prove himself all over again, not through flashy plays but through quiet resilience. This role as a backup, once a difficult pill to swallow, became a valuable chapter in his redemption story. Vick had embraced his role fully, showing that he was willing to rebuild his career from the ground up. Each day was a testament to his growth, and he was now ready if called upon. Fate intervened in 2010 when an unexpected opportunity thrust Michael Vick back into the spotlight. Early in the season, starting quarterback Kevin Kolb suffered a concussion, and Vick was called upon to take over. This was the moment he had been quietly preparing for, and he embraced it with everything he had. Vick knew this was likely his last chance to show he could still compete at an elite level. As he stepped onto the field, he felt the familiar rush of adrenaline and the weight of expectation. But this time, there was a new calmness within him. He was no longer playing to prove others wrong. He was playing to prove himself right. Vick's performance during the 2010 season was nothing short of extraordinary. Game after game, he dazzled fans and silenced critics with his incredible combination of speed, accuracy, and decision-making. In just 12 games, he threw for over 3,000 yards, rushed for 676, and scored a total of 30 touchdowns. His remarkable comeback was marked by jaw-dropping plays that reminded everyone of the explosive athlete he had once been. But this time, there was a maturity in his game, a focus and control that hadn't always been present in his early career. Vick was no longer just playing football. He was orchestrating it. The fans in Philadelphia quickly rallied behind him, as did his teammates, who were inspired by his hard work and resilience. Vick had transformed himself from a backup into a star once again. But this time, his journey to the top carried a deeper meaning. His success on the field was seen as a symbol of redemption, a testament to the power of perseverance and change. For every touchdown pass and electrifying run, Vick was showing that a person could indeed rise from their lowest points and return stronger. The Eagles, with Vick leading them, became contenders, and he was named FL Comeback Player of the Year for his efforts. The 2010 season marked a rebirth for Michael Vick, both as an athlete and as an individual. It was a season defined not just by his statistics, but by the respect he earned for his growth and dedication. Vick's play brought the Eagles to the playoffs and solidified his return as one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the league. For fans and critics alike, Vick's resurgence was more than just a story of athletic prowess. It was a journey of redemption. He had proven that he could overcome the mistakes of his past and reclaim his place in the NFL. This was a season that would define his legacy, adding complexity and depth to his story. Michael Vick's resurgence with the Philadelphia Eagles left a deep impact on both the team and its fan base. His extraordinary performances reignited hope and excitement among fans, who rallied around him as he led the Eagles to victory after victory. For a city known for its passionate and sometimes unforgiving fans, Vick's success brought a sense of renewal, transforming him from a controversial figure into a hero on the field. Every game felt electric, with fans eagerly watching Vick reclaim his role as a playmaker. His journey from redemption to renewed success became a point of pride for the city, uniting fans in both admiration and support. Yet, not all fans were quick to forgive, and Vick's return sparked a complex array of emotions. Many embraced his comeback, seeing it as a testament to human resilience and the power of second chances. But others were unable to forget his past and continued to view him with skepticism. This division created an intense atmosphere around every game, as cheers and doubts echoed in equal measure. For the Eagles organization, the choice to bring Vick on board was a statement of belief in redemption, but it was also a risk that required constant justification. Each play became a test of whether the decision to support Vick had been the right one. Inside the locker room, Vick's impact on his teammates was undeniable. Players respected his work ethic and the humility he brought to every practice, and his journey from disgrace to redemption resonated with many. Vick's presence was a reminder that mistakes, even life-altering ones, didn't have to define a person forever. Younger players in particular looked up to him as an example of perseverance. Vick's story became a source of motivation, showing that setbacks could be overcome with dedication and humility. His leadership inspired his teammates, who recognized that they were part of a narrative much larger than football. The Eagles organization also felt the weight of Vick's influence. Management had taken a chance on him, and his success brought both validation and relief. For head coach Andy Reid, Vick's transformation was a personal victory, a testament to the belief that people could change. The Eagles became a symbol of redemption in the NFL, and Vick's journey from scandal to star added a layer of respect and intrigue to the team. Philadelphia had become the stage for one of the league's most compelling stories, and the fans, though divided at times, witnessed a rare moment in sports where redemption and talent met to create something truly unforgettable. As Michael Vick continued his journey with the Eagles, the highs of his comeback season slowly gave way to new challenges. The following years saw a shift as younger players emerged, and Vick's role as the team's cornerstone started to diminish. In 2013, Vick faced repeated injuries that hindered his performance, bringing questions about his durability to the forefront. His body, after years of intense physical play, struggled to keep up with the demands of the game. Each setback was a reminder of the toll football had taken on him, and he found himself fighting not only to play, but to stay healthy enough to contribute meaningfully. During the 2013 season, Vick eventually lost the starting role to Nick Foles, a young and promising quarterback who quickly captured the attention of fans. It was a humbling moment for Vick, who had once been the face of the franchise. Accepting his new position on the sidelines, he continued to support Foles and the team, offering guidance from a place of experience. Vick's humility in this transition highlighted the growth he had undergone. He now understood that his role wasn't solely about being in the spotlight. Instead, he focused on being a positive influence within the team, showing younger players the value of resilience and adaptability. Despite the disappointment of no longer being the starting quarterback, Vick embraced his position with grace, knowing he could still be of service. As a mentor, he shared insights and advice, especially with Foles, helping him navigate the pressures of leading the team. Vick's willingness to step aside and let others shine underscored the personal transformation he had undergone since joining the Eagles. Even when his playing time was limited, he continued to prepare intensely, embodying the discipline he had cultivated over the years. For the Eagles, Vick's influence extended beyond the field, serving as an example of maturity and growth to everyone around him. In 2014, the Eagles made the difficult decision to part ways with Vick, officially ending his time with the franchise. It was a bittersweet farewell. Vick had given Philadelphia some of his best years, and his presence had been instrumental in the team's journey. The end of his tenure with the Eagles marked a closing chapter in one of the most complex and compelling redemption arcs in sports history. Vick left the team with a legacy of resilience, humility, and a reminder of the transformative power of second chances. As he walked away, Vick carried with him the memories of his time in Philadelphia, a place where he had been given the chance to rebuild and redefine his life. After leaving the Eagles, Michael Vick's journey in the NFL continued with a shift in focus. In 2014, he joined the New York Jets, where he was primarily a backup quarterback. No longer the superstar he once was, Vick accepted his role with humility, understanding that his days as a franchise leader were behind him. This new chapter allowed him to embrace the role of mentor, helping to guide younger players and share the hard-won lessons of his career. Vick's focus had shifted from personal glory to supporting the next generation, determined to pass on his knowledge of the game and his experiences both on and off the field. As a mentor, Vick brought a unique perspective to the Jets, especially for younger quarterbacks like Geno Smith. He shared insights on reading defenses, managing the intense pressures of the game, and staying disciplined despite distractions. Vick understood better than most the consequences of poor choices, and he spoke openly about his past, hoping that others would learn from his mistakes. This honesty and willingness to help others gained him respect within the locker room. Even without the same physical explosiveness that had once defined him, Vick's presence and wisdom provided a steadying influence, and his teammates saw him as a player with depth and resilience. In 2015, Vick joined the Pittsburgh Steelers, once again filling the role of a backup and mentor. Though his playing time was limited, Vick continued to train with the same intensity as in his prime, demonstrating the importance of preparation and professionalism. The Steelers appreciated his commitment to the team, recognizing that Vick's contributions went beyond the field. He was an invaluable resource for young players, encouraging them to remain focused on their goals. For Vick, these final years in the NFL were an opportunity to give back, to prove that he had truly learned from his journey. His commitment to being a mentor became a meaningful part of his legacy. As Vick's NFL career neared its end, he looked back on his role as a mentor with a sense of pride. His transition from superstar to supportive veteran had not been easy, but it allowed him to redefine his place in the sport. He had gone from a player defined by his on-field explosiveness to someone respected for his maturity and guidance. In his final interviews, Vick spoke about the importance of growth, both as an athlete and as a person. These last years were a testament to his evolution, showing that his legacy would not be limited to his achievements on the field. Instead, Michael Vick had become an example of how adversity can lead to a deeper purpose. Reflecting on his career, Michael Vick acknowledged both the triumphs and the mistakes that had shaped his journey. He understood that his legacy was complex, marked by moments of brilliance on the field and deep regret off it. Vick's story was one of transformation, proving that talent alone cannot define a legacy. Character and resilience play equally vital roles. His impact on the NFL extended beyond records or highlights. He inspired a new generation of dual-threat quarterbacks and showed fans the possibility of redemption. For Vick, the road to understanding his role in football and life was a challenging one, but he embraced it, hoping others could learn from his experience. Vick's influence remains in the league, seen in players who emulate his playing style and those who find inspiration in his story of redemption. While he will forever be remembered as one of the most electrifying quarterbacks in NFL history, Vick's legacy carries a dual nature. It reminds fans of both his talent and his difficult past, serving as a testament to the power of second chances. For many, Vick's career represents a journey of growth and reflection, a reminder that greatness is complex. Ultimately, he hoped to leave fans with a story not just of football, but of personal evolution, a tale of highs, lows, and the unrelenting drive to rebuild. Michael Vick's career was a journey unlike any other, a story of talent, controversy, redemption, and ultimately, transformation. He was a player who redefined what a quarterback could be, combining athleticism and skill in ways the NFL had rarely seen. Yet, Vick's legacy remains complex, marked by moments of brilliance on the field and regret off it. His impact on the league is undeniable, having paved the way for a new generation of quarterbacks who now thrive as dual threats, inspired by the path he forged. Vick's story reminds us that greatness is seldom simple. It is often marked by struggle, setbacks, and the drive to rise again. For many fans, Michael Vick stands as a symbol of resilience and the possibility of second chances. His influence lives on, both in the electrifying style of play that he popularized and in the lessons learned from his personal journey. But how should we remember him? Was he one of the greats, or does his legacy remain incomplete? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Is Michael Vick's story one of triumph, or is there more to be told? Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this story of redemption and resilience, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that explore the human side of the game.